It's amazing what some people can do with some abandoned place, a storage unit, or even a closed-down market. With a little bit of money and some creativity, you won't believe what some of these people have done with so little. There are some people who can turn even the worst places into amazing works, and we found some really incredible architecture transformations. Let's check them out. Couple builds tiny home. Here is another incredible example of what some people can do with some imagination and some creativity. If you have ever wanted to build your own tiny home, then you could easily learn from their experience. Tiny homes are very cool when it comes to creating a beautiful modern home on wheels. Mobile homes are nice because you can put an incredibly nice home anywhere you want. The couple that built this home didn't live in it, but instead wanted to build it for people who wanted to visit Utah. The home started out as a flatbed trailer. The floor of the trailer was insulated and then the house itself built. The tiny house on wheels has regular-sized kitchenette, stainless steel appliances, and a full-sized bathroom in front of the trailer with a walk-in shower. There are two big comfortable beds on the second-story loft, and a third bed can be made out in the main entrance on the floor with plenty of room to sleep 6 people. The skylights are incredible, and you can lay and stare at the stars when you fall asleep. The inside of the trailer is built with the help of one of the fathers of the couple, who is a general contractor who builds custom homes, so there was a lot of help when it came to building the house. The 3 of them built the entire house in just 3 months. The couple has been renting the tiny house in Utah, where it can be put on any recreational vehicle lot. It's a great investment as it only costs $25,000 to build and uses a lot of refurbished or reclaimed materials and appliances, or the cost would have been a lot more. If you've ever been to Utah, you know how beautiful the mountains are there. Imagine having this tiny home sitting somewhere in the Rocky Mountains and renting it out for a month. This is one really cozy tiny home that is hard to believe started by being built on a flatbed trailer. Barn transformation. When we see old barns, we usually don't pay much attention to them. However, this really amazing transformation shows what the team from a show called Reframe This Space did to an old barn which was empty aside from some hay and an old safe left inside. The 120-year-old barn had stood unused for many years and has a big wall made of stone, which ended up being the perfect touch for the gentleman's lounge idea that Reframe This Space decided on. Sometime during the barn's long existence, it needed structural upgrades, and steel beams and metal braces can be seen in different places, which adds to its rustic feel. To bring it up to the level that the two designers had envisioned would take a lot of physical help and a ton of furniture and accessories. They cleaned up all the hay and pressure washed the barn to get it ready. A lot of giant rugs were put over the cold concrete floors. Bookshelves were then built and painted the color Gentleman's Gray, which is like a black and blue paint, which is also on the gallery TV wall. The barn was really big and some of the space was closed off with some pine planks painted the same color. It's really bright when the light hits it, but then strangely dark when light isn't on it, adding a beautiful touch. There are a bunch of different sections with comfortable chairs or couches, and a bar with some bar stools off to the side of the gallery wall TV area, which can be seen clearly from the different seating areas. Everything is sitting on expensive and antique rugs which were borrowed to the team. The gallery wall has a special Samsung 4K HDR TV called The Frame, which can be designed in different colors and styles of frames and looks exactly like a painting when it is off. The before and after photos of the transformation are incredible, especially considering it only took them 3 days total, including 1 day of planning. Laura Jane Clark. This is probably one of the most ambitious projects ever taken up by an architect. Laura Clark just got her degree from Glasgow School of Art and was looking for a unique challenge, and she really found one. Just imagine the usual public restrooms in the 80s, and now imagine they had been abandoned since. That's what Laura found when she crawled many historic sites that have some history or places that were abandoned or forgotten. She first found the place back in 2005. She ended up finding and transforming 600 square feet of public bathrooms into a luxurious apartment. The restrooms were built back in 1929 and were used until the end of the 1980s. At first, people were shocked and probably thought she was crazy when she tried to buy the property. Most of us wouldn't even think about turning a public restroom into any kind of living space, but in London, space is at a premium. But it wasn't easy to buy a piece of public property, and it cost her almost $3,500 attending meetings and trying to figure out who the property belonged to. The property finally went up for sale and Laura purchased it for $25,000 and began transforming the place from a public restroom to a nice one-bedroom apartment. The transformation of the space is unbelievable considering the bad condition it was in. Everything inside was gutted except for some wall tiles that were reused. What has emerged from the once long abandoned underground dungeon-like toilets is a contemporary home with streamlined shelving with plenty of space for everything. It has a full modern kitchen which has some tiles that form the backsplash, which was reclaimed from the site, and a gold-leafed bathroom with modern fixtures and flood lighting. A mirror in the living room was also reused from the original site. The place has been beautifully redone and the original skylights flood the home with plenty of light during the day. It is hard to imagine that this one-bedroom flat was once a derelict public convenience. Laura is also into martial arts and got some of her people that she trains with to help her do some of the remodeling. The whole project cost around $84,000. Clark has her own practice called Lamp Architects, in which her company looks for old places like this and turns them into incredible modern living spaces. Debbi White Shed Transformation. This incredible story shows us anything can be turned into a pleasant living space no matter what it is. The couple ended up turning an old shed in their backyard into a small cottage. The storage shed wasn't being used, so they thought it would make a perfect little guest house, and they were right. The project took about 62 days with some of the other more complicated things being done by contractors, such as wiring for electricity. Once they completed their project, no one could believe it was the same shed 2 months ago. The outside transformation is completely incredible compared to what it looked like before, and the shed has been nicely decorated with some nice landscaping as well. Everything inside of this small shed-turned-cottage was bought from Craigslist, a place called Habitat Restore, or things that they already had except for the rug. It has an antique stove which has an electric fire log inside. The kitchen was redone using new cabinets that were intended for a bathroom vanity. The kitchen sink was also found online and all of it only cost $110. An entry table which was also purchased online was turned into a bathroom vanity with a vessel sink. A 3x3 shower stall was also installed for just $125. In the bedroom sits an antique bed with an antique dresser which was found online as well. The back patio of the place is amazing with a double door, outside table and chairs, and the landscaping is also beautifully done. It's hard to believe that this small one-room cottage used to be nothing but a storage shed. Assuming the average price of a barn like that is $1,000, and the price of the interior and exterior features is $1,000, the house cost is around $2,000. This incredible story shows us what incredible people can do using their imagination. Vyacheslav Minchanin. At first, people didn't understand why an invalid in a wheelchair would buy some old store. But later everything became clear. Vyacheslav Minchanin bought this store in a village and turned it into his home. Vyacheslav lost his legs and has to move around with the help of a wheelchair. But this didn't stop the man from building his own house. From his very early childhood, Vyacheslav lived in Minsk, but he always had a dream of living in a quiet village, if he had his own house, of course. In 2011, he got a chance to buy a building which used to be a store. It was located in the Minsk region in the village of Katya. Initially, Vyacheslav wanted to organize a small production shop there, but he got unlucky in business and decided that the room was great for building a new home. Vyacheslav probably came to the decision very quickly because he didn't have any house at that time. Since the store that Vyacheslav wanted to buy was unprofitable, the authorities decided to put it on auction. That's when Vyacheslav got lucky and spent $10,000 to buy the building, which has an area of 85 square meters. In order to do the most labor-intensive work, he asked for help from professional builders. He says that it could be possible to manage the tasks alone, but it is difficult to do certain things while in a wheelchair. As soon as the house was heated and there were places to sleep, Vyacheslav moved in along with his family. All the repair work has cost several times more than the price of the building itself. Vyacheslav and his wife are doing all the finishing work together. The most interesting thing is that Vyacheslav has never done construction work before. He learned and did everything by watching videos on YouTube. At the present time, repairs in Vyacheslav's house are still going on, and he is still completing his home. He didn't know it would cost so much money to do what he has done so far, and if he knew he was going to spend so much, he would not buy the place. But he says that people should not be afraid to start something.